Remember, there was another Biden, besides Joseph Biden. I'm not talking about his late son, Beau. Of course, I am talking about Crackhead Hunter. So, I have some stories right here. Oh, I apologize. Right there. It is about crack. Justin, Supreme Court unanimously rules certain low-level crack offenders not eligible for resentencing. Now, I know it's a kind of a stretch, but the segue is, hey, did you know Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, smokes a lot of crack, including Parmesan cheese that he found on the floor because he thought it was crack? Oh, I love Hunter Biden. He just is constant entertainment. Regardless of that story, though, let's look at the quote that I accidentally had pulled up. Right here. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled unanimously that certain low-level crack cocaine offenders are not eligible to be resentenced under a 2018 criminal justice reform law. Low-level offenders. Okay, let's read what that means. The decision, written by Justice Clarence Thomas, shuts the door on hundreds of inmates who might have been eligible for leniency had the court reached a different conclusion. That's unfortunate. The defendant in the case was Tarek Terry, who pleaded guilty in 2008 to the possession with intent to distribute just under 4 grams of crack. Terry, who had 2 prior drug convictions, was sentenced to more than 15 years. That's what the quote that got me. 15 years now. I don't know cocaine, I don't know crack, I don't really know how much 4 grams is, but they say low levels, certain low level amounts. So, and I mean, I'll admit, I know measurements and I know of the marijuanas, so I know that an ounce is 28 grams, 4 grams. I just don't know exactly how I'd say how much crack, how many highs can someone get for 4 grams of crack. If it's 100 highs, then that is a decent amount of time that someone could be on crack if with just 4 grams. But if it's like 2 puffs, like, it's a pretty low level. Point being, though, I don't really care what amount of crack. 15 years is crazy. 15 years for a low-level amount of crack. I'm sorry, it's a drug, and it's addicting. A lot of the people who do it, although I want them to get off of the drug, really, you're going to start putting them in jail, and it was to distribute. He pleaded guilty to distribute. It's one thing if you're just doing the crack. If you're trying to sell it, that is different, especially if it's to kids, but that different point. Can we just acknowledge that this drug war, one, is probably the most racist actual, in my eyes, law that we still have nowadays, because the drug laws that we have do result in the incarceration of more minorities compared to white people, as a percentage. And just, frankly, I think that drug laws are dumb as can be. I'm very, very libertarian, and let me explain. My opinion on this really formed after Breonna Taylor. She, I'm sure you know the story, was killed. I don't believe it was in her sleep, but regardless, it was because of a drug raid. The police were going, not for her, but for her boyfriend, to go and look for drugs. She happened to be there, she was shot and killed. If they didn't have to look for freaking drugs, they wouldn't have been there in the first place and she would be alive. George Floyd may or may not have died. I'm not going to assert what killed him, but if you actually watch all of the trial, and I followed it pretty closely of the Derek Chauvin trial, it does seem that as the police officers were showing up to George Floyd's car, this is a testimony from his girlfriend, that the man who was in the car was their drug dealer, sold drugs to George Floyd, which had already sent him to the hospital in the past, and then George Floyd, when the police were showing up, he swallowed what appears to be some fentanyl or some other drugs. Can we not acknowledge that if, say, the police show up and he goes, "Officer, I want you to know I do have these drugs with me. I will do whatever you need me to do," but like, rather than being like, "Oh, I need to hide the evidence so I don't go to jail because drugs are illegal," if he could just be like, "I understand I'm doing something wrong. I am sorry I'm behind the wheel. I wasn't planning," like whatever it might be. But instead, he was scared and he decided the best thing to do was to take all of the drugs right then and there to try to hide them. And it may or may not have resulted in his death. Those are two of the biggest cases in the past year that caused so much social unrest and so many problems. And the link between them both was the fact that we were looking for drugs. Or maybe not looking for, but drugs were involved. One, Floyd was trying to get rid of them. The other, they were going and trying to find drugs. If we just made them legal, and I'll give it to Oregon, the state of Oregon. They've made drugs, I'm pretty sure, pretty much legal, almost every drug now. I personally think that a person should be able to do whatever they want, drugs included, as long as it doesn't impact or hurt someone else. Now, of course, the idea is when you decide to do crack, heroin, whatever these drugs are, it does honestly impact other people in your life, your family. At the very least, you have a mom and a dad. You have to if you want to be born. So at the very least, maybe it'll impact them because they'll be disappointed in their child doing all these drugs and hurt them. Potentially could make you lose a job and hurt your own family. I mean, these things are very, very addicting. But if you want to do, I know plenty of people who are able, I mean, think about like the 1980s businessmen. Like, you've probably seen Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not going to say these are high-functioning people, but they were doing a whole lot of drugs, and clearly they weren't just falling apart. I mean, yeah, they were doing some illegal stock stuff, but they still had to put in some hard work to get that all done. And so, point being, you can do drugs, depending on the drug, and in moderation, understanding what they do to your body, and I think everyone is different. You really do need to do a whole lot of understanding and experimenting and research before you are to do anything and put anything in your body. But why can't you do what you want as long as it's in a safe place, you're not driving, you're not going to hurt anyone else, like I'm not shoving a needle into your arm. Who cares if someone wants to do something? Personally, I think it would just make everything better because the police wouldn't have to go hunting for the drugs. We could legalize them and actually get some money from taxes. And you know what? Imagine a drugstore, not like a pharmacy, but a store where you have your heroin, your crack, your weed, your Adderall, like all the stuff that people want to do, the recreational things. And you walk in and you go, hello, like, cashier, I would like 1 heroin, please. And they go, okay. Hey, before I sell you this heroin, would you like to take a look at this sheet of paper here that says, look at like right here. If you do heroin, you will have no teeth and all these bad problems. If you want to buy weed instead, it is cheaper. And these are like, you can educate people way more. That is the point. I do think that, yes, although it kind of seems crazy to be like, someone could just go and get these really, really powerful drugs, I also think that it's the forbidden fruit. Remember the Tide Pod scandal and people were eating them? Now, it wasn't really that rampant. There wasn't hundreds of thousands of kids eating Tide Pods. But it kind of is that forbidden fruit mentality where if you tell someone, hey, don't go do this, hey, you can't drink till you're 21, well, then you're going to have a binge drinking problem. Because more and more people are going to want to binge drink. It just is, I feel, the nature of life. You tell someone not to do something, and it kind of gives it that allure, like, ooh, when I can get away with this, I'm going to want to do it. I don't know if making all drugs legal would actually solve problems. We might just have a lot of cracked out people and a lot of potheads, but maybe it would be better. I look also at the past, think about hunter-gatherer civilizations, think about the Amazon rainforest. I mean, these cultures, maybe be a shaman, but they were very much in tune with the spiritual side of life. Very much so with ayahuasca and drugs. Again, who knows if, maybe that could just be, these were ancient cultures experimenting with the plants that they found. I think that drugs also play a really big role in human spirituality, or at least can play a big role. And I think legalizing them would allow us to kind of reconnect a bit more with that spiritual side in ourselves. Now, getting away from the drugs a little bit, but it kind of goes in, because it's the government getting involved with stuff that they deem bad for us. Again, very libertarian. So I read this story. DC council members withdraws soda tax proposal amid pushback. Well, of course there's pushback. If you try to tell someone, we're going to tax you and say you're going to, basically you won't be able to buy as much soda because it's going to be more expensive because we're going to have a tax on it, and we are going to punish you for making a choice that you have the freedom to make, yeah, I disagree. Now, we do have taxes on alcohol and different other substances and gasoline, so there are ideas of we will tax certain things that you're doing, potentially a carbon tax in the future. We will tax you based on your carbon footprint. But a soda tax in particular, I can understand it. I'll give him that. Personally, I lumped it in with the drug stories because sugar is absolutely a drug, or high fructose corn syrup. I view it like one. It's fantastic, but Think of it like this. This is a really powerful thing I've heard. Your brain is very, very smart, but if you were to eat steak, a really delicious filet mignon, every single day, this is a top delicious cut of meat, great steak, the same way, cooked every time, basted with some like garlic and thyme butter, however you like your steak, but you're cooking it the exact same way every single night for dinner, every single night. Over, say, a month, your brain will literally get used to that steak and will not get the same enjoyment. We know this because we can look at the chemicals in your brain. So when you take a bite of the steak on day one, we'll just say 100 molecules of serotonin and dopamine flood into your brain. Those are good, happy chemicals. Now, day 30 days in of having the same thing, maybe it's only 20 serotonin and dopamine molecules rush into your brain. I'm not sure of the actual percentages, but the idea being, food will get less enjoyable. Now, if you have a cookie every single day right after that steak, the same exact, say just a Chips Ahoy cookie or a chocolate chip baked cookie, same recipe, every single day, the same thing, your brain will never, because of the sugar, never get bored of that cookie. It will forever be very, very good. Now, people will be like, but I've had so many cookies before and I get sick. Yes, if you have too much sugar, you will still feel the effects. But that being like a little bit, your brain, it loves it. And the reason is, evolutionarily, glucose, sugar, is the main fuel for your brain. Your brain craves it. It uses, I believe, 60% of your energy per day, and so it just wants all the energy it can get. So if you're feeding glucose to your body, it's like, oh, yes, please, more. Makes perfect sense. But I don't believe the government should get involved with taxing and saying, sorry, we are going to take away your soda. If they are, I would say they should start getting involved with regulating the soda companies and saying, you need to put no more, like, you see that Sunkist bottle? It should basically right on there be like 500 grams. Like, it should tell you, if you drink this, your teeth will rot, your body is going to become full of fat, and it just tell people what's actually going on when they're getting these sodas, and that they are addicting. Tell them, just like the way it says on packages of cigarettes, like, these are addictive and be careful. Put it on Sunkist. Tell people that this is the most garbage thing you can put in your body and you shouldn't do it. Have you seen the videos of someone dropping like an egg in Coke or an old tooth or something, and it literally, or a piece of meat, and it disintegrates inside of Coca-Cola or Sprite or another soda? Like, I don't get how someone can ever watch that video, and it's probably because the people who are drinking the sodas haven't seen that video. But I don't get how someone can watch that and then just be like, yeah, I'm gonna start drinking 2 liters of this every single day. It literally decomposes meat. And I get, like, your stomach is designed with a lining, and so it won't just decompose, but, like, you're made of meat. What makes you think that just because you're drinking this, like, your body's, like, it's still doing disgusting things inside of your body? That is still syrup and sugar and acid and grossness. We shouldn't be drinking soda. In my perfect world, I wish it never was created, but I get that we can't get rid of it now. So what do? I just don't think taxing is the solution. I think the government needs to get out of our way and basically let us make choices, and maybe just they say, you know what, we're not going to tell you what choices to make or influence your choices, but we will make sure that when you make your choices, you are as educated as you possibly can be, because we have regulated the soda companies, so they have to tell you what is going on inside of your body. That would maybe work. Final thing in this thing, or this section, vaping. Kind of goes in with the drugs. Just a small story, but one thing that really makes America special. This is a tweet from Michael Tracy. If you're at a boardwalk, a beach, or a park, engaging in a normal recreational activity, having a drink of wine, or taking a drag on your vape, puts you at risk of a violent arrest. Okay, so I have a couple opinions on this. One, if you are under 21, like, try not to vape. I've been addicted to Juuls myself twice. I've gotten rid of that addiction. I can sometimes fall victim to cravings of nicotine. It's not good. Point being, these are very real addictions that are taking place, and I did an entire project my senior year of college that was basically, I had to create a fake marketing campaign on Juul. I decided to do Juul because I said, if I can sell this product or create a campaign to sell this awful product, well, I could probably sell anything. And in my research, I found out that Juul did a ad campaign on Cartoon Network. And then they're like, but we're not advertising to kids. Okay. Like, I don't get how you can make that argument. You willingly pay money to Cartoon Network, but you're not advertising to children, and then you have all these fruit flavors. The reason I bring that up, one, just to say, I need to clarify. Please, I don't want kids vaping, but I've seen it, and I've been a part of it. You know what? I do think there are rules in certain places. For example, I worked at a gym. If someone came in, and it happened before, we caught them vaping in the gym, because you know what? Some people can't go a set without having to hit their Juul. It's kind of sad, but you know what? Some people can't. If you're hitting your vape in the middle of the gym, I'm going to have to say something to you and go, really, dude, this is a bit over the top, and if you're going to keep continuing to do it, yeah, I might have to ask you to leave. Now, I won't arrest you like the police had to do here. Now, I think it's all about respect. You know what? If you go to the locker room and you try to hide it, or you just go outside real quick, hit the vape, and come back in, I'll be like, cool, thank you, appreciate it. Say you're in a public park and they just have a no smoking. This is a story I was listening to my friend tell me the other day. He is a CIT and a counselor now at a park program that we have in my hometown. In the park that he was working at, there's a smoking ban. Understandably, there's a lot of grass around and a lot of parents and kids, and they just don't want smokers. Okay, people were smoking. They didn't want to stop. He had to have the cops come and just say, will you please leave the premises? Literally just go up the hill and smoke your cigarette. Who cares? The idea being, though, sometimes there are rules in society. You might not agree with them. Sometimes I don't agree with them. Like we just talked about, these drugs. I don't agree with the war on drugs and all these drug laws. But at the moment, we have them. Right now, if there's a rule saying you cannot vape on a boardwalk in the middle of a big crowd, yeah, I'm sorry. If someone... Now, I don't think you should be immediately arrested. You shouldn't be tackled to the ground. They just go, please stop vaping. I don't want to see it again. Keep it in your pocket. I'd go, okay, officer, thank you. And you know what? I probably would go around the corner if it was me. And I'd try to find a little corner, and I would... If I really, really was craving it, point being. You try to be as respectful as possible. But I've also seen the teenagers where you go, can you please not put away your vape? And they're like, ugh. I mean, I can't even be them, because I'm just not this arrogant and, frankly, just rude. But there's a lot of teenagers and a lot of young people who, when authority comes to them and says, hey, will you please put away your vape, or would you please do this, please do that, they literally... Have you ever heard of oppositional defiance disorder? ODD. A friend of mine said he had it before. The idea being that whatever you're told to do, you can't do it. I don't necessarily know if this is a true disorder, but I do think maybe it's a sociological phenomenon we're seeing, where more and more people have this disorder of ODD, where authority comes and says, hey, will you please do this? And because it's authority, it automatically is like, no, absolutely not. I will not do this. It's ridiculous. A functioning society needs some sort of authoritative ability, meaning at a certain point, we need laws, and we need to be able to say, hey, this is not okay. You cannot vape in the middle of a big crowd and blow your vape smoke into the face of a baby. Now, I don't think that is what is going on here. It's a fine balance between balancing the injustice of, okay, we don't want people being tackled for vaping, but we also need people following rules. I don't claim to have the easy solution, but I think the best solution right now would probably be the young people in particular, because I see a whole lot of them, learning how to respect elders and authority, and frankly just conduct themselves in a society that does have rules. You can't just do whatever you want, young people, and I know you want to. I know you want to scream that there's injustices, and those injustices give you the right to do things, but no, I'm sorry. If you're going to do these crazy, crazy radical things, or just ignore authority when you're told to stop vaping, then please, just accept the punishment when it comes. If you enjoyed my commentary in this clip, please, please, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, anything you can do to help me grow this channel. I really, really, really want it to grow. I'm doing everything I possibly can. I'm going to be uploading a new one of these Monday through Friday around 6 p.m. every single day. Clips coming out the day after. Thank you so much. Enjoy, and I'll see you later.